The anglicization of German is a topic which I'm faced with on a daily basis, and I absolutely love it. But it is a humongous topic, one which requires years of research, and luckily for us, many people have already done this. However, given the subject is so complex and evolving so rapidly, even research from 4 to 5 years ago can actually kind of be somewhat outdated. I'm not a linguist, I'm not an academic, I'm just simply a native English speaker living in Germany who just loves to talk about language. So having said all that, let's get right into it. There's English, there's German, there's Denglish, and then there are teenage trends and social media. And in a way, I kind of feel sorry for someone learning German who doesn't speak English, because there are just more and more terms coming up in the German language which you won't really find in a German dictionary, or an English dictionary for that matter. And I will give you some examples of this in a couple of minutes. But one of the reasons for the insurgence of English in the German language is the business world. Many large companies have their corporate language as English because they are dealing with so many international clients, and even companies that don't have a strict sort of English language policy are still heavily influenced by English terminology, such as business, meetings, deadlines, research reports, etc., etc. Whereas other countries such as France have resisted this trend for a very long time, Germany has embraced this anglicization wholeheartedly. There are now many universities offering courses and degrees taught exclusively in English, and students are really expected to be proficient in the language. However, what is perhaps the most profound driver of this phenomenon are social media platforms such as YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok. And while we're on the topic of language evolution, I really wanted to take the time today to introduce you to today's sponsor, which is Lingoda. Lingoda is an online language school with a strong focus on European languages. They offer English, Spanish, French, and German, also business English in all levels, and you can choose between very small group classes or also one-to-one sessions with your own personal tutor. I am very excited to share that they are offering a 7-day free trial in February. This is really the perfect way to just dip your toe in the water. You have the time to test out 3 different classes. So you can also decide to choose 3 different separate teachers to get a real feel for the product and see what kind of teaching style suits you best. And if you find a teacher that you really like, then you can always book classes with that specific person. The thing I really like about Lingoda is that the classes are very small. There are never more than 5 students in your class, and this really gives you the sort of dedicated time to ask your teacher questions and to really practice speaking. One of the fastest ways to learn a new language is really through kind but also critical feedback, which is what you can expect from classes at Lingoda. Of course, there are also a ton of resources in your Lingoda account, such as flashcards and vocabulary lists and exercises that you can do yourself. And then you can really use the class time to actually sort of check your work and ask any questions that might have come up during your own personal study time. So what are you waiting for? Head over to Lingoda right now and sign up for your free trial today. If you do decide to continue after the free trial, use my language code BEN2023 to get 30% off your first payment. In the introduction to their Wörterbuch, Pogarel and Schröder point out that loan transfer, or in other words, taking words or phrases from other languages, is closely knit with political, economic, military, and cultural dominance at a specific period in time. In English, this has traditionally been Latinisms and Gallicisms from the French, for example. Given that the business and technical worlds are so highly dominated by English, then maybe it's not really very surprising that a lot of these terms have infiltrated the German language. However, what is surprising is how weird things can get when you smash English terminology together with German grammar and language structure. One of the weirdest things to hear as a native English speaker is English words being mutilated by German language rules. For example, von der Niceigkeit her duftet diese Kerze am schönsten. Would you, as a non-German speaker, recognize how the word nice has been mutilated, or you might think it's been improved depending on your point of view? One thing that really does get my goat is social media speech. When Germans say things like Usern or follower without adding the S on the end, when they're actually meaning the plural of the word, or things like posten or liken. And if you do like this video, then please give it a like. Mal liken bitte. Danke See what I did there? In his research paper, Anglicisms in German, Christian Erkenbrecher found that loanwords usually have a very specific purpose, and are usually only used when they add sort of a more accurate description than the native German term. Now, that may have been so in the past, but I think today, like a lot of the English that is used in German, has nothing to do with utility. When you hear things like, der Kaffee ist alt, das kann ich nicht mehr usen. Why not just use the German term benutzen instead of the mutilated English term usen? Or as one of you commented on a previous video of mine, a colleague responding to the English, just calm down and keep cool, replied, ich kann nicht cool keepen. And as I've discussed with many of you on here already, there is a real challenge to know how to correctly Germify or Germanize English terminology. Words such as lockdown, download, post, mail, it sounds really kind of the same in the present tense. But when you start to get a little more complicated and use maybe a past tense, it's not really so clear how exactly you should be expressing yourself. In this sense, locked down becomes, I think, downgelocked, and downloaded becomes downgeloaded. Post, which really is used more of a noun than a verb, becomes gepostet, and we're not talking about post as in die Post, but post as in to publish something online. This is in a sense not about loanwords or anglicization anymore. It really is a kind of completely new language, one which requires fluency in both English and German to really understand what is going on. And on that note, German does really seem to be very receptive and open to foreign influences. It's not just English. You will often hear many Turkish or Arabic phrases in the German language, things like yalla or Valla or mashallah or mahaba. And depending on who you're hanging around with, you will hear this repeated very often in certain social circles. And I can tell you that I have learned quite a few words since living here, which I don't really know the exact origin of them. And one of these words, which is sort of currently doing the rounds again, I think it peaked in 2017, but I keep hearing this as well, is bougie. And bougie is taken from the French bourgeoisie to sort of refer to high-end tastes or somebody or something that is very expensive or lavish or sort of extravagant. Like driving in your Bentley to Den's Bio to pick up your organic avocado and a bottle of Dom Perignon. And although I first heard this term here in Germany, I think it is more common in the English-speaking world. I would be very interested to hear if you know this term, bougie. Let me know in the comments below. Wherever you stand on this issue, as some of the research papers I skimmed through have stated, this has been going on for donkey's years and is nothing new. It's just perhaps more apparent given the deluge of media that we consume on a daily basis. Older generations do tend to see these kind of changes critically. However, I would argue when you were children, I'm sure your parents also disapproved of how you spoke and words which you chose to use. I can certainly remember many words that I used as a kid on the playground back in the UK, which are kind of now forbidden. As I said at the beginning, this is a massive topic and I do not pretend to have covered every aspect of it. Feel free to discuss in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.